Well, I think this movie is amazing. I do think it would be made differently if a woman had made it, because the focus being so much on the father and his reaction and how it affected him, I didn't like that. But this was made by men, and I think this is a movie for men. Now, because women care a lot about this topic and tend to care more than men actually ever will, it seems at this point, we're watching it and we're supporting it. And if it does very well, it's because of us. Okay? Because just see any men on social media who have enormous platforms who talk to other men about men's harm to women, it is like 90% women supporting, reposting, commenting, sharing, liking, and all the stuff you need to do to build a platform. It's women doing that, not men. Okay, so this success of this movie will be because of women. Just want to make that clear. Why to compare me to any of the male followers and how they all have, like, I mean, Robbie Harvey talks about domestic violence and he's awful and has like millions of, it makes so much money, while me and my mutuals who are survivors of it, I mean, come on. But I do think this is a must-see movie that every man should watch. I think every person should watch it, but I do believe this is a movie for men, helping men, trying to force men's hand in their own reckoning. By the way, it's called Adolescence. I'm blocking it, sorry. Actually, let me bring my therapy dog into this because Mose is needed right now. Watch the sleeping dog back there. I think the movie needed to show all these fathers, you know, from the cop in the beginning, who clearly didn't spend much time with his son, and the way his son was like, whatever, you can go do whatever, you don't have to talk to me. The way he was like I you know, this is a movie about fathers reckoning with their role in creating these monsters. Even the ones who are not actually doing what that one kid did, they are all somehow complicit in it, right? They all know what's going on. They're covering for each other. And the cop's kid was like one of the only boys I wasn't scared of in that whole first episode. Those terrifying little boys who were laughing about that girl's made me so angry, and yet it's so believable. And before, and if you're new here, I used to work in outdoors as a whitewater raft guide, a backpacking guide. I worked on all boys trips. Okay, I've talked about it on podcasts. I have written articles about men and their friendship and their loneliness and blah blah blah. So I for lived experience of being a tomboy, immersed in men's worlds, right? And then, you know, whatever. I know what I'm talking about. Especially because I kind of lived like the lone wolf toxic masculinity mentality for a little while, because I had to survive those worlds. And I went to extreme with it. And it's a very lonely, isolating, awful place to be, is to behave like toxically masculine men. And I literally was acting like that. And it's a lonely, terrifying place, but I still was a woman. So I was still like the person on the receiving end of all the violence. But in the isolating, lonely place of that lone wolf, like self-protective, refuse to deal with my emotions place. You know, I'm big, tough, strong girl. So I understand. I don't know. I'm not a teacher. Talk to teachers who deal with the kids every day. You know, teachers who are underpaid, stressed out, and have to teach for these dumb tests all the time, instead of what they really want to teach and are good at teaching. They have to teach for these stupid tests, thanks to Bush and all those forkers. So there's people who know more about kids than I do. But I'm just saying, I know more than I want to about men and boys and how they think and how, like, patriarchy is like what that toxic masculinity mindset is like. And I've also forked a lot of those dudes, right? Because I've been a little slut for a while too. And I say that with pride and not shame. I love my schmegdual life. I've been in bed with these dudes. I know what they say. That's why we can learn so much from schmegs workers, right? Trans folks and schmegs workers are the first people, like, if you're a turf or a swerf, like, you are like, stop. Feminism needs those voices, those points of view. They understand more than any of us do. I feel like living in those worlds, I was like a little bit undercover on some level. Except I like that movie with what's his butt. Whatever, there's a bunch of them where like the cop goes undercover in like the real world and then becomes like an addict. That's kind of what I did, but like not on purpose. So given what I know on this topic, I do feel like for this movie and it being written by men, I think it's for men. And I think it's like 101 level, wake up, right? But I also think that there could and should be a follow-up, because I want to understand the sister and her experience living with this nightmare, and the mother. You know, I do appreciate that we got to see some insight into the psychologist, or I don't know what her title was, but that episode was very centered on the impact of this male violence and how much emotional labor women have to do to keep it together, and how, like, God, that episode, I can't stop thinking about it. And if you're not following Ms. Aisha, her and I did a live recently over on Patreon, and God, I love her. She is talking about this show right now, and as a therapist who has dealt with a lot of men, please go listen to her. She has a lot to say, and especially around this. A lot of these men don't need therapy, or these boys don't need therapy. They literally need men holding them accountable for their actions, because all this is about male approval. It is all about the centering of men. All of men's violence, all of their anger, all their entitlement is because they're so male-centered, and they need men and daddy and all the boys and all these men. They just want to impress men because they think men are everything. And then they use us in order to get what they can't get from men. And they hate us, that they need us for what they want. Like they resent the fact that they need us so much. And we die and we suffer immensely and are exploited constantly because they need us so much, even though they really don't. We got to stop sorry, this is my, I always have to hold something, and I don't know, I didn't want to play something in the beginning, but this is like my little lecture stick. Oh. But what I would love to see next, if there is a follow-up to this, is some episodes that center on the impact of this male violence on women. And that is why I want to bring up this movie right here, Fresh Kill. Jennifer Esposito, the brilliant writer, director, actress. Her and I are going to go live over on my YouTube soon. We're just trying to figure out the date. If you want to, we need more of this. So if you haven't watched this movie, fix that soon. It's on Hulu and other platforms. This is a movie that's the perspective of mobs and the violence of mobs, but from the perspective of those that it impacts the most and suffer the most, which is actually the women and children, but especially the daughters. And I am so sick of TV shows like Breaking Bad and Sopranos and all these shows that glorify male violence. And even if they have, let's see what, that monster has a heart deep down, or how does like a good man turn into a monster? Walter White sucks. Fuck that guy. Jesse also sucks. Fuck that guy. And I know I used to love Jesse, and not anymore. When I go back and watch it, that guy sucks. He sucks. And everyone hated Skylar, of all people. He oddly did not hate the son. The only person who suffered as much as Skylar is their kid. But they didn't hate him. Wonder why that is. He was a dick to his dad too. Rightfully so. So what I would love to see is a Jennifer Esposito version of Adolescence. I hope that the filmmakers can watch this movie and learn what it's like to include the people who are harmed the most. Now, again, I believe that movie was that series was made for men by men to help men understand the gravity of this problem. I hope they didn't just purposely leave out it's always centered on why, but they've called that out too. And the fact that the cop, who I loved the cop, I mean, ACAB, right? But even the cop, I was like, oh, he's really I was like, this guy's trying to figure this out. He cares. And then he is so indoctrinated in this stuff too that he literally called her a bully. She called her a bully, right? Now, I think that we're supposed to conclude that he's clearly wrong and doesn't know what he's talking about, but I kind of feel like they should have gone a little bit farther to be like, hey, men watching this, he's wrong, because so many men are not going to pick up on that. But I want more of this. I want more of Jennifer Esposito type stuff made for everybody, but it literally centers the people most affected by male violence, which is women and girls and children. I'm so tired of men being the center of men's violence and their story and their suffering when we always suffer the most from their violence. Anyway, watch this movie. I'll let you know when we're going to do our live. Follow my Patreon. That's how I pay bills these days. These platforms aren't paying me crap. And let me know what you think. And watch this show. Watch this movie. Watch this movie. Watch this movie. Fresh Kill. Okay, here's a short comment song for y'all. Comment song, gnome edition. Took these photos in Switzerland. Gnome stuff everywhere. Like what the fork? I don't know. And then this. What the hell is this? I love random stuff. Oh my God. This. Weird stuff. Anyway, this is when I was with Liz. Last time, this was in our Airbnb room. Look at this creepy man. Look at this creepy man. Like, what the fuck, creepy man? Comment song. I share travel stuff on Patreon. Oh, that rhymed. Oh, look at this sign. No horns, but little, like, like old-timey horns. Anyway, hey, voila.